Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the 16th edition of the Chlorophyll podcast. Initially started to celebrate our 25th anniversary, and as we say, continuing by popular demand. We have a very unique person today with us in a very unique category. We never had this category before. It's the category of real estate. So let me welcome Minol Ajekar, who is Vice President of Consumer Experience and Loyalty in Puravankara. Welcome, Minol.
Thank you so much, Kiran, and thank you for having me. And also, I have the added pressure of being the first to represent real estate on your podcast. So I feel I should bring my A game.
Yes, no, you always bring your A game, Minol. We have no doubts about it. So, just for the viewers, Minol is in the midst of celebrating 50 years of Puravankara, of course, with a little help from chlorophyll also.
More
So,
than a little help.
Let me begin by saying that there are only a handful of publicly quoted real estate brands in India. Just you can measure them on your fingers, who have lasted, who have remained vibrant and relevant for 50 years. So if someone was to turn around, if I was to turn around and say, Minol, tell us, is there any one characteristics, is there any one attribute that has led to this brand being relevant and vibrant for so many years? What would your answer be?
Okay, a one word answer would be difficult, but I'm going to try it. I think it's commitment
Okay.
and ethics. Yes, but allow me to elaborate, Kiran.
Yes, please.
And this is probably a little story that I've heard from our founder, chairman, Ravi Puravankara himself. He
Right.
always speaks about that when he set out on this business and he set out on the business of making homes, it was with one clear intent that the home should bring delight to the
Okay.
customers, right?
Okay.
So he always uses this word delight. And I think for 50 years, that is a thing that has passed down in the DNA of the organization. That whatever we are doing for you. So and we call it the U philosophy now. Of course, we have all the words for it now. But when he started 50 years ago, he didn't have the words, but he used the word delight. So we call it the U philosophy, and that is primarily ingrained in almost everyone who works in Purvankara, that everything we do centering the customer. I think that's the value. But none of this would have been possible without a couple of strong ethics that has passed down from the promoter into the organization. And of course, Kiran, you are aware, but it's one thing that we're very proud of, that we are a no cash company. Purvankara does
Yes.
not.
Remarkable.
And it
Yes.
has been since inception, and these are and uh, the only reason for this is transparency, right? We want to be
Right.
absolutely transparent in all our business dealings. Real estate developers are portrayed as the villains even in Bollywood films or the media sometimes, and we have that cross to bear. So we want to do everything to ensure that our reputation is a reflection of the reputation our customer wants to bring when they purchase a home with us. So I think that's another, and
Beautiful.
it's only these kind of things I feel that craft legacies, right? I think it's only when you're this committed to the cause, and you absolutely know that you are not a fly-by operator. You are here to have a firm footing, not just for your customer, also to yourself and the nation. That's when you can craft a legacy. I mean, I could talk about this for a longer time, but like even before I joined the company, I've heard of it. And once I joined in, the old timers have so many stories to tell. There were so many firsts with the company. For example, apparently Purvankara had a computer in the 80s that maintained a
Wow.
database of the customers. When I heard that, it blew my mind. It's huge investment. Apparently, the computer it needed a whole room. One whole room had like one PC.
Yes. Yes.
Um, it was the first real estate company to get ISO certification in the late 90s. Again, with the commitment of being absolutely transparent with all the business transactions and the dealings. I think it was one of the first companies to even think of starting to get listed in
Yes,
the real estate. I think because everything we're doing is centering around making our customers more comfortable with investing with the brand. It is the largest financial transaction most of us make in our lifetimes, right? When we
absolutely,
purchase our
absolutely.
home that we are going to live in. So if we are able to align customer delight with their largest transaction, I think we have solved or we have unlocked a great mystery. So I think that's what keeps us on the path. That's our North Star. And that's probably why this company has lasted, thrived, and will last for another, hundreds of years.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the essence of any brand. I think a brand that lives up to its promise is the brand that will last the longest. Minol, just while we are at it, there are other things that within Puravankara you have undertaken along with your own teams, that you started three or four uh, startups within quotes, right? And this is a very unique concept that with your team you created a startup inside a legacy company. Now, how does that work? What kind of learnings did you have? What are the things that had to change? What did not have to change? Because it's very unique. We have never heard that before.
I mean, I think, again, like I said previously, we didn't have these words, right? I think now we have the word for it, startup. But like all startups, it started and then integrated into the company. But I must say that I did have the distinct advantage of having a lot of support within the organization. I also have the distinct advantage in my first few years in the company, I worked directly with the chairman. And it was almost like getting a PhD in real estate. The few years with him, like I feel I'm very qualified to say things because of the knowledge that I gleaned at that time. Of course, being when you're working with the promoter's office, it's not like you're looking at one particular vertical. I did have the advantage of having a 360 view on things, and also having the perception of the founder. Now, of course, none of this is possible if the company doesn't have, a very innovative uh, adaptation to itself. Like if it had not evolved over the years, and if the company is not ready for change and transformation every 5 or 7 years, as an organization should be, then none of this is possible. So, of course, the vision mattered, and I think all that set a very fair ground for any sort of startup or any sort of new idea to thrive. I think I like to call it special projects, Kiran, because the we do the special project, we integrate it within the organization, and then it's lovely to see the value they bring. If I had to name a few, we had a big four come in some years ago, because we
Okay.
realized this was just before the regulatory authorities came into real estate. So we before that and before GST, and we wanted to prep for it, and we wanted to be future ready. We had one of the big four come in and said, how do we realign our processes? And so I, of course, helmed that project here. And it was like an eye opener to even for me to see how many cogs in a machine make real estate work. I think it must be one of the most complex or compounded industries for the amount of things that need to happen for one thing to happen. So what we were trying to do is to see, can we standardize so many things. So of course, it's great to see many of the things that we helmed at that time, and we created a war room which was monitored for a year or so, and then handed over to the organization to run. Some of it most of it we're still doing today, and I think that's again one of the reasons that 50 is thriving. Another would probably be the CSR. While a lot of people would think that's not the main core function of the company, but it is again mandated by the authorities. Purvankara was already doing more than its obligatory 2%, but when the mandate came in, of course, set up the team, bought the right people. We had again another big four come in, set the process for us, give everyone master classes. I helmed that for a few years to ensure that we are on track and we're um, ticking all the boxes and crossing all the t's, and it's now running wonderfully, beautifully. We've impacted I don't know, more than 50,000 children in the last few
Oh,
years. We have done rainwater conservation with Biome, one of the foremost water authorities in Bangalore. We have started Anganwadis in conjunction with the authorities and an NGO. So, and all this has now become process. It's just happening. But yes, it's great. When you ask me this question, I feel happy to, to say that we did all this and it's happening. One of the other things that I'm doing now is I'm building a new vertical, which is customer experience and loyalty. Again, this is a product of the organization being so open to change.
right.
Kiran,
Yes.
right? Otherwise, none of this is possible. The organization understanding that post COVID, the world pivoted, right? Everything became about experience and everything became about how people felt about certain things. And while we can say that, अरे घर तो हर कोई खरीदेगा, हर किसी को घर चाहिए, but how are we going to do that so brilliantly that they choose nobody else but Purvankara for every purchase? Our MD likes to say this, he likes to say that a grandson should say, I bought Purvankara because my grandfather also had
Wow.
Purvankara.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, Hannah, really beautiful. So, I think that was the thought process for this vertical, which I'm in my third year of. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see where it takes us.
Fabulous.
Um,
Fabulous. So while Minol is talking about all this, just to remind you viewers, any questions, please type them in the comment section, and at the end of our chat, Minol will try and answer them. Minol, so this lead segues into my next
mm,
question I had when you're talking about customer experience and loyalty. Uh, we have, as
mm,
Chlorophyll, over the past 26 years, we have done over 25 real estate brands, and initially we used to hear from the
mm,
pundits that real estate,
mm,
residential real estate, is a hyper
mm.
local. You can't go from one city to the other. Even Donald Trump can't build Trump towers around the world of the same class that is there in New York. And that's what we heard. What we see today is most brands are traveling. They are traveling. Even Puravankara has now come to Mumbai with a very high end luxury offering. So,
Mm.
what happens when you are going from being a leader in one city to another? How does loyalty travel? How does customer experience travel? How do you build that same goodwill, which has, as you said, which has been experienced in Bangalore? How would you build that in a new city, in a Mumbai or a Pune or a Goa?
So, Kiran, excellent question. I think that I mean, we're all building something. You're building chlorophyll for the end user, right? You want someone to
Yes.
use
Yes.
and experience what you are making. It's the same thing with us. With Purvankara, of course, I think it was again among the many firsts that were achieved by Purvankara. The other first was it was one of the first developers to hit 9 cities. It was,
Wow.
we were already, yeah. So I think that's again from a part of maybe we don't tell our story enough to people, and maybe we are not very evocative in our narration, and maybe that's something we need to change. And hopefully in our 51st year we'll become slightly more louder with our story.
You need,
But Kiran, actually, a little thing, Purvankar actually started in Bombay in the
okay.
70s. The first few buildings were in Bombay. In fact, I like to tell everyone, because I'm originally from Bombay, that the first building in Yari Road is a Purvankara building. It's there today. It's in excellent, I mean, people are living. It's called Royal Gate. Please go and see it. So we were actually in Bombay. It was the 80s where when the headquarters moved to Bangalore. And I think what happens with loyalty, to come to your question, um, who was the original influencer while we are living in the age of social media influencers and paid influencers? Who was the original influencer for all our purchases as Indians, right? It was our uncle, our brother, our
Correct.
neighbor, our colleague in the office. While again, we have a term for it now, referral, loyalty. But the whole time, I mean, the actual original influencer was when you're asking your neighbor, Are, you bought that Maruti 800? Is it
Correct.
giving you good mileage, right? And I also think that as Indians, we like to trust people we know more than anybody else, right?
Yes.
So that's, I mean, if I had to explain loyalty to a 5-year-old, this is what I'd say. It's not about creating a select database of people who are only going to be our brand ambassadors. It is basically uh, someone having the trust and the comfort of recommending you to somebody else they like. It's as simple
Correct.
as that, right?
Correct. Correct.
um, Now, word of mouth, I believe, is one of the biggest reasons of why real estate gets sold in India. I think you would agree also as a consumer, right?
Yes. Yes.
You can go and experience the product, but if you know somebody who has lived in one of in a Puravankara building before, and they're happy with it, that is going to be of much higher value to you than a Google ad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's all that I think we are trying to achieve with loyalty. We're saying um, when we come back to Bombay, and I must tell you this, that we have Bangalore is a migrant city, right? We have so many people coming into Bangalore. We have a lot of people from Pune and Bombay who live in Bangalore, who have
Uh-huh.
experienced Puravankara, and now are wholeheartedly recommending us to their families and friends back home. Now that we are there, I'm whether it's Pune or it's Bombay, we're very happy to see that a lot of people are already telling us, "Arey, we know you. You know, my cousin lives in a Purvankara apartment in Bangalore." And I
Yes.
think that kind of validation is the best kind of validation when
True.
someone comes and tells us that. Um, so loyalty, I think, is one of the most crucial things, not for real estate. I think for any consumer product, that if I'm going to be able to recommend you, or if I'm going to be, as a consumer, an ambassador for your product, there is no greater validation than that. And you are a business owner yourself, Kiran. A referral business is the most important kind of business,
Yeah.
right? Because your consumer liked what you gave them.
Yes. Yes. And it's most hassle free because you don't have to prove yourself again. It is the
Again, I
past
mean, you
is
don't have to
proof.
prove yourself. You don't
Yeah.
have to
The
prove
past.
yourself again and again.
Yeah. The past presents the proof. Yeah.
No,
So
but I mean, Kiran, first of all, I'm feeling like a bit of an imposter syndrome, like the Gen Z call it these days. I should be sitting here asking you questions and like uh, gleaning
no, but
gyan from you.
no, but mine is not a lived experience like yours is in real estate. I mean, we have done many real estate brands, but yours is a lived experience. So I think that has a lot of value. So I'm going
No, I
to,
mean, chlorophyll is also 25, na, Kiran. Obviously,
yes,
there is, I mean, not a lot, and congratulations, and not a lot of agencies also have lasted so long in
correct.
India. So obviously you are doing something right and something excellent. So
Yes.
uh, like I said,
Yeah.
next time I'll ask the questions, Kiran.
It's always a team. It's always a team, It's somehow we just attracted a team of just utterly gorgeous, loyal people. So that's how it has worked. Just to just to step away because there is another dimension to your personality which I thought was very interesting, and let's see if that can throw some light on what you're doing in real estate. So you have been advisor to the Bengaluru International Short Film Festival. Uh,
Ah,
is there anything there that you learned which you used here, or otherwise anything you learned there which altered personal life? Because 8 years is a hell of a lot of long time to focus
Okay.
on one single event, right?
Okay, so couple of things. I mean, first of all, you've done your research. Like, don't remember mentioning this to you. So obviously, great research job by the team. I must first qualify by saying that the founder and director of the film festival is a related party transaction. So I have probably no option but to be the advisor there.
Okay. Minal, we have lost you.
Kiran, did we lose each other for a second or?
Yes, yes, for a second. So you said that I had no option but to be an advisor. Yeah, carry on from there.
Kiran, did we lose each other for a second? Or we here?
No,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, great. I think first of all, it comes from the fact of that I'm a film buff, and that helps. But I do have to tell you a little story if you indulge me
Yes,
for a few
yes,
minutes.
yes.
The festival, of course, is in its 15th year, so I obviously was not there at inception, so on and so forth. But to draw parallels between real estate and what the festival is doing now, when I came back to India from Australia when I was studying there, I already came back with a digital first mind because
Okay.
Australia was already doing social media. Australia was already doing LinkedIn, finding customers on LinkedIn, and I was realizing that real estate needs to go down that path. In fact, I remember. I hassled the then salesperson so much. I said, "You need to create a digital manager role. Yeah, you need to create a digital manager role for sure." And I think that, of course, now digital is reigning,
Yes.
emperor of everything. So I think that's the parallel I drew from real estate to the festival. Like, most people would probably look at a film festival, and in fact, even the founder, said a festival is touch and feel. It's got nothing to do with digital. But I was like, if you want to keep the festival, main TG is younger people, young filmmakers, filmmakers who are making their first films, experimenting with short films, etc. I said social media is what you need to do. And again, COVID happened.
Yes.
And of course, no physical festivals happened. And then I was like, there has to be Instagram, there has to be places that um, all these people have worked really hard, made these films, they've submitted them, and to now say the festival is cancelled would be a shame. But full credit to the core team at Bangalore International Short Film Festival. They also made a commitment to themselves that they would not fail, and they created a website where people could watch online. But I think what really brought everything together were the workshops on Facebook, and also using Instagram as a tool of information, which I think from to 2020 to 2025, people are using Instagram more to interact with
Yes.
BISAF than the festival website itself. But so in 2020, when they made that pivot, I think even bigger festivals like Cannes and the Toronto Festival, everyone shut down. But because they decided to make that digital pivot and said, let's see if we can show these films online with permission, they actually pulled it off. So I think they were probably one of the only film festivals that ran that year because they made a commitment that let's see how we can get our films out there. So, and I'm very happy to say that instinctively, maybe I'm that social media was my instinct with both real estate and
Yes.
BISEF, and I'm drawing a parallel that both of them now are thriving. We are finding customers on LinkedIn. We find, employer branding has become a huge buzzword now, but future employees can find us on LinkedIn. So I think in that sense, that social media and digital was the way to go. So
Yes.
I hope I answered that
Yeah, yeah.
effectively.
In fact, if I was to connect the dots, what you're saying is so valuable because loyalty as proof from peer group has
Mm.
actually been magnified by social media
Yeah.
because you're able to listen to your peer group much easier than before the invention of social media, right? So in a way it's a kind of a virtuous cycle that I listen to you on social media, I understand what this brand is all about, and because I trust you, I trust the brand. So it's a beautiful before I come to the last question, I want to check whether there are any questions from the audience, Rochna. Yes. How different is it to implement a loyalty program into a category like real estate, which probably has the longest purchase cycle? Very nice, other than other categories, because a first-time buyer will typically take a year to choose his home. So, is it different to implement a loyalty program?
It is very. It is very. I mean, it is different and it's the same, right? Uh, but uh, but but I think uh, forget just the buying decision being 1 year. It's also the longest product cycle of any products. You purchase it today, you only see it after 3 or 4 years, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the loyalty cycle is a two-edged sword here. I would say it is different because what you want to implement is when someone comes and looks at a project that we are making, we know for a fact that they are shopping, right? We know for a fact
Yes.
that they're shopping. They're going to look at 10, 20, almost every uh, product out
Product.
there. They're going to compare budgets. They're going to ask whoever. They're going to look at online reviews. They're going to check their financial flexibility on the products. And yes, all this is going to take time. So the at least what I like to practice and what I tell my team is just to stay in touch, right?
Okay. Okay.
To just stay in touch. I think that's the first aspect of any loyalty program. I mean, we could have portals and we could have it the websites that they can come and talk to us about. But if just staying in touch and saying, are you, can we invite you again? Can you come down? Can we help you make this decision faster? Um, Staying continuously in touch is step number one in instilling a sense of comfort and creating loyalty with customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any more questions there? Otherwise, I can ask more questions of Minol. So, personal question, Minol.
Sure,
Minol,
Kiran.
before Puravankara, Minol, after Puravankara, what has been the internal growth? What is something that you soaked in and said, "How happy I am that I experienced this brand and I'm working with it."
Okay. Um, I think I say this like a broken record. Roti, kapda, or makan. Roti and kapda got its due in India, but makan really did not get the due hallow that it deserved. None of us, you ask a young child in a small village, he said, "Bada hoke kya karega?" He said, "मैं बड़ा होके घर खरीदूंगा."
Yes.
And to have first-hand experienced people buying their first home or handing the key over to their parent because they're the first in their entire, first in
Yeah.
their generation of their entire family to be a homeowner,
Beautiful.
to experience that kind of joy and bliss. I had not experienced that prior to Purvankara. So I'm very, very grateful to have been a part, to have seen that upfront and so close. And it also made me very, very grateful as a person of what I have, and uh, to also be able to be a part of someone else's story. I think that was brilliant.
Beautiful.
That's brilliant. To be a part of someone's story where they're making their memories on a daily basis, that's special.
Very, very heartwarming. Yeah, beautiful. So your friend Khushbu has a question. How does the digital medium affect a category like real estate when the original influencers are offline?
Good question, Khushbu. Thank you, of course, expecting a question like that from you. You know, how do I put it? Nowadays we don't even buy a pen without going online. Okay, that is
Yes,
the reality of the times that we are in. Right? I'm going to go online. I'm going to look at this review and that review. So the digital medium has become a very important ancillary ally to the whole buying real estate buying purchase
very nice.
journey. So it cannot be ignored, it cannot be avoided in any way or form. It has to be understood and it has to be leveraged for the consumer to be able to find you first before they find anyone else, and for you also to be able to find your consumer before somebody else finds them.
Beautiful. And I presume,
I
Minol,
hope
that
that
is,
answers Khushbu's question.
and I presume that is true even for your employees because your organization is also built on very, very loyal employees themselves. So the brand going online is also helping to create that magnetic attraction for employees. Yeah. Can you hear me, Minor?
Yes, I can. Yes, I
Ah,
can.
okay, okay, okay.
Mm.
So I don't think there are any more questions, and if they have, then I'll share them with you. So, Minol,
I mean,
we've thanked you many times in private. So now I'm going to take this opportunity and thank you in public. Thanks. We'll say thank you to you twice, and I will use thank you once more for our viewers who have been with us for all these 16 episodes. So thank you very much, Minul, for being a pioneer in on our podcast and explaining to us how a legacy brand can actually break new ground. Thank you.